Hi, I'm Dr. Mickey Becker with Mood Forward. In our previous episode in this series on boundaries, we talked about how boundaries are not about the other person. They're about you, and they're about your motivation level to change your behavior in order to enact a consequence. Because if you are not ready to change your behavior, then any boundary you set is essentially just an empty boundary. It's you asking for something, but there's going to be no consequence. There's going to be no change on your part if that doesn't happen, which leaves you in a tough spot because the other person has no motivation to change. You have the motivation to change. So you have to be you have to be the person who's doing the change. So if you're at a spot where you say, yep, I am willing to do what it takes to change my behavior in order to change this situation that I'm in. All right. Now, you're probably thinking, sweet, I'm ready. Mick, tell me what I need to say in order to get this person to understand my boundary. No. Now we need to look at why do you want the boundary in why do you want the boundary in the first place? When I say that, we're looking at why does this thing bother you? Again, like I said in the previous episode, obviously there are things that this is just dangerous. It's unhealthy. It's unacceptable behavior. Plain and simple, I don't have to justify it other than to say it's dangerous. That's why I want it to change. On the other hand, we have things that just annoy you and you'd like them to change. They're just little quirks that maybe happen at the dinner table that you're like, I can't, it's a pet peeve of mine, for instance. So when I ask the question, why do you want it to change? That's you self-reflecting on, why does this thing bother me? Why does this behavior irritate me? What is my emotional response to this behavior? I don't like it when you raise your voice. Okay, why do I not like it? Do I not like it because on a theoretical level, loud voices are unhealthy for communication patterns? Or do I not like it because I have a history in my own life of being around people who were emotionally angry all the time and they yelled, so it makes me anxious to hear loud voices? Those are two different reasons. The question is, what is your reason? Is this something that you are wanting the other person to change because, plain and simple, it has to change? Or are you simply wanting them to change because it makes you uncomfortable for them to be the way they are? So in that, we're reflecting on, what do I need to do? What's my part in this boundary? What's my part in my emotional response? What's my role? So if their behavior causes me anxiety, am I doing anything to learn to manage my anxiety? Am I exploring where that anxiety comes from? Because if I'm blaming my response solely on this other person, okay, I may set a boundary, but now the only reason I'm setting the boundary is because I don't like being uncomfortable. I'm saying the quickest solution to my discomfort is for you to change, that you are the problem in my life, which completely discounts the fact that there are probably other times in your life where you experience the same emotion, that it isn't just this one person that is the problem, that it's an experience, that it's the emotion is something you don't like, and in your mind you've decided their behavior is causing that emotion. So in your mind, the solution is to change their behavior. Again, it's not to say you can't request behavior change. It's not to say that there aren't things that have to change, period, regardless of why or you feel that way or what's coming up for you. You're always allowed to ask for them to change. But you want to be aware of, why does it bother you? Because if you are just blaming your discomfort on the other person, if that's all you're doing, is saying, you are the only time in my life where I feel this way, and so you need to change, without any self-reflection, I guess honestly I have a hard time with that. Which is funny because I'm saying that you should reflect on your emotions, and then I'm saying that I have my own hard time with it. But like I say, so I'll take that back. I don't have a hard time with it. You do what you want. But my belief, my understanding of how people work is that we have an emotional response to our environment, and we try and find a solution to that emotional response. So our goal can be, let me figure out how I can manage my own personal emotional responses so that my interactions with other people are healthy, period, whether they are behaving in a healthy way or not. Because now I know I am not just asking them to change so that I don't have to deal with my emotions. I'm asking them to change purely for the sake of that their behavior is not acceptable with me. I can handle my frustration. I can handle my anxiety. I can handle my sadness, whatever it might be. I can address that. But that doesn't mean I'm okay with what you're doing. And those are two very different things. Again, I know there are situations where it's just dangerous, period. Needs to stop. But when we're looking at setting boundaries, you have to start with looking at why is their behavior upsetting to you? And are you doing something to manage that emotional response? Or are you simply saying they need to change so that I won't feel this way? Is that all you're doing with a boundary? Is just saying, if you change, I don't have to feel this? Or are you saying, I can manage this, I just would prefer you not do it? Again, I'm Dr. Mickey Becker. I know you're wanting quick fixes still in this, but when we're looking at boundaries, it takes a lot of self-awareness in order to set a boundary and hold to it. And this is part of it. Again, episode 1, it was just taking a look at how willing are you to make that change, that possibly difficult change in your life. In this one, this is where we're getting to that difficult part, and it's saying, are there changes that I need to make to learn to manage my own emotions? Or am I simply saying the other person needs to change so I never feel this way?